Welcome to another Fast Tips video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I am your instructor, Richard Rost. In today's video, we're going to talk about a status box, using a status box on your forms to display messages in your Microsoft Access databases. If you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you've probably seen this little gray box right here on the main menu. This is what I call the status box. Now, the status box can be used to display pretty much any kind of message that you want, and here this button gives you an example. See? Hello world. That's all it does. It puts hello world in that box. Nice and simple. And I use this thing in a lot of different videos to show like what's going on while the code is running or while some process is going, whatever. I like it better than using MessageBox, and there's some benefits too. We'll talk about those in a minute. But I show how to build this thing in my customer contacts video, where I show you how to build the contact manager. But you got to watch like 20 minutes of this one to get to that. And this guy follows my blank template video, where I show you how I build the Tech Help Free template from the ground up. And that's like 20-25 minutes long. So when people ask me about the status box, I got to point them to these videos, and that's like 40 minutes of video they got to watch just to get to the status box. So I'm putting this video together for two reasons. First, I want a quick video I can say, hey, go watch this fast tip video. It'll show you how the status box works. Okay? We're going to get to that real quick. The second thing is we're going to have some fun with it after that. All right? So I'm going to show you how it works again, real quick. And then we're going to do some embellishments. We're going to add some color. I'm going to show you how to display some really cool information in them. So sit back, relax, and here we go. Okay, so if you're new and you haven't watched the other videos, the status box is basically just a text box, and I color it gray to indicate to the user that they can't type stuff in here. I mean, they can, but this data doesn't go anywhere. It's for display purposes only. Yeah, you can lock it if you want to, but why? Okay? And I use a little Visual Basic function to control what gets written to this box. So yes, if you're new to VBA, go watch this video first. It'll give you the background you need. I'll put links to all this stuff down below in the description under the video. You can click on it. So what we do is we create a text box. We put a button on the form, right? And in this button, right-click, Build Event. That brings up my VB code editor right here. I got private sub hello world button, and then I say status hello world. Just like MessageBox, right? If you're familiar with MessageBox, MessageBox pops a window up in your face with an OK button on it. Or it can be OK cancel or yes, no, or whatever you want. But generally, it's just OK. The problem is, in order for the database to continue doing stuff, you have to click OK. So if you want to put a message up on the screen that the user can see, but not stop access from doing stuff, like if it's on a loop, you don't want to use a MessageBox. So that's why I wrote the statusbox function. So what does status do? Well, status is up here, right? Private sub status. It takes in one bit of information as a parameter, S as a string, whatever you send to it, okay? And it says, okay, status box, which is that text box on the form, right? This guy over here, that's status box, right? That's status box, okay? Say set that equal to S, which is whatever string I just sent into it, and then follow that with VB new line, which is basically a new line, right? It's a new line carriage return pair, but so basically move down to the next line, like if you're in a text editor and you press enter, right? And then tack onto the end whatever status box used to have into it, okay? So the effect is whatever goes in first goes on top. Why? That's just easier to code. See, it comes on top. The next one will come on top. If I put some extra stuff in here, watch, the next one comes on top. So the most recent stuff is always on the top of the box. It's the easiest thing to code. Otherwise, you got to have the box scroll down to the bottom, which I don't like. It causes the screen to flash, whatever. Your users just get used to it. The stuff on the top of the box is the most recent. Okay? If you don't know what this stuff is, that's called string concatenation. That's just putting multiple strings of text together, right? S, and then the VB new line, and then the status box. If you don't know how that works, go watch my concatenation video. Now, the next line is do events. What does do events mean? Well, if you're in a loop, if you're doing a bunch of stuff, okay, nothing else will happen except what is programmed in your loop. The screen might not even update, okay? Especially if you try to cancel it. Okay, it won't process any keyboard clicks. It won't process any mouse clicks until the process is over. So if you got a big long loop and you want to status a bunch of stuff as it's running, you got to have do events in there. Do events just lets the processor take a break and say, okay, go listen for user input or anything else that might want some attention right now, and then come back and work on your loop. Okay, I got a whole separate video on do events coming up soon. There's a lot more to it than that, but so that in a nutshell is what the status box is. So if you're curious as to what this thing is that's sitting there, all right, that's what it is, and that's how you build it. And you can easily take this and put it into other forms. All you have to do is copy this button, this text box, and this little function right here. Can you write one that handles all the forms? Yeah, you could, but this way each form has its own private status sub. So it writes the text on that form. Yeah, you could have it write text on other forms if you want to. That's a whole different video, okay? Okay, so now that I showed you how the status box works, okay, let's see some examples of where it would be handy. Let's start off with a long series of processes. Let's say you've got a bunch of queries that have to run, and they take forever. I've had some queries back in my day that, they would take 15 minutes to run. They're pulling data across the network. It does an append query. It does a delete query. Does a whole bunch of stuff, right? You're importing data from a client or whatever. Okay, some of these processes can take a while, and to the user, it looks like your database might be locked up if they don't look for that little tiny thing going down here in the corner. So maybe give them some status, as things are running. Okay. So let's say this hello world, instead of here, we're gonna say this runs some big long process that's got like 20 steps. All right. You could say, beginning import now ... All right, and then something will run here, some long query. Okay. How do you do that? Well, you do command .open query, and it will run that query. I got a whole separate video coming out on this very soon. Shows you how to do multiple queries in a row, right? Import some stuff, run an append query, run an update query to change things, update your prices, whatever. If you don't want to wait, I do cover that in my Access Expert Level 16 class, but I am making a tech help video on this too. Obviously, the course goes into more detail than the tech help videos do, but it'll give you a basic understanding of it. But anyways, what I'm going to do right now to simulate something running is I'm going to put a sleep command here just to pause the application. So it looks like something's happening in the background, right? The goal here is to show you how the status box function works. So I'm going to go grab the sleep timer code from my sleep video. If you don't know how this works, you can watch this video. Right? The free code is right here. I need just this guy. One line of code right there. All right, come back to my database. I'm going to create a module, and I'm going to drop in that one line of code. Now I can use a sleep timer, right? There's the sleep right there. Save this as my global module. Okay, let's go back over here. Now I can just, something runs here, and then we'll just say sleep, maybe a second, right? Those are milliseconds. Okay, and then, beginning, or step 2, we'll call it. All right, and that's going to take 3 seconds, let's say. And then, step 3. But the point I'm trying to make here is that while this is sleeping, or while this is doing its thing, right, the user's seeing something happen. They don't think that the computer's locked up. Okay? And you could do, status done. And then a beep, maybe. All right? Save that. Now, instead of just them clicking a button and going getting coffee and they don't know what's going on, let me make this bigger real quick so you can see what's going on in here. Make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Save it, close it, open it. All right, ready? So now the user goes to run that big long process. All right, beginning import, step 2. Step 3, see? It's a little bit too long of a delay, but you get the point, right? They would have sat there and just watched nothing for 10 seconds. And they would have been like, well, is my computer locked up? At least now, after each query runs, or each whatever, okay, you can see some stuff happening. Maybe if you got a big loop. I know sometimes I used to send giant email batches with like 10,000 emails or even more. And I would want to see a status of, okay, how many have gone out yet? Let's do a fake loop. Here. Loops are, I use these all the time for loops. All right, so we'll change this to sending email batch. Okay, and we'll do a for next loop in here. Again, never done a for next loop. Go watch this video. It'll teach you how to do it. I'm going to show you right now, though. All right, let's say you know there's going to be 100 emails, right? You get the same thing will work in a while loop if you don't know how many you're going to be ahead of time. But let's just for class purposes, let's say give me a value, dim x as a long integer, and I'll say for x equals 1 to 20. Okay, we got, what did I say, 100? All right, we'll do 100. Small email batch, and then next. Okay, now in here, now normally when you click go, you just won't see anything happen. I mean, your screen might update when each email sends. It all depends on how you're sending the email, right? And sending here, right? That's where you do your actual sending, and we'll fake it like a sleep, maybe a 100 milliseconds, maybe 1/10 of a second. About how long it takes to send an email, right? And then we'll do a status, and then we'll say sending X, right? X of, we know it's 100, right? Like that. Sending X of 100, and it'll loop. And at the end, it'll say status done, and then beep. Okay. Right? So we're going to send 100 emails, fake sent, obviously. And then, here we go. Go. See? Sending them all out. And you see something happening on the screen. That's the whole point I'm trying to make here. As your emails are going out, your user can see. You could calculate the percentage and put that there. Okay? One thing to note, by the way, that updating the screen is one of the slowest things you can do. So if you've got, let's say, 100,000 emails that are going out, you might only want to update that. Like, let's say you're not sending emails in the loop. Let's say you're exporting records. Okay, so let's get rid of the sleep here. Oh, by the way, I was going to mention, how do you send that email? Well, wouldn't you know, I got a video for that too. Go figure, right? Go watch that. All right, but let's say instead of sending stuff, let's say you're just exporting records. So it'll be really fast, right? Or you're doing some kind of stuff. So without a delay in there, let's jack this up to 1,000. Okay, now go. You still see it takes a second or two, okay, because updating the screen, that's what takes a lot of time. So you might want to use like your modulus function. Modulus is the remainder after integer division. Remember that? I covered that in my odd or even video, right? The mod operator. But using that, we can come in here and say if x mod 100 equals 0, then do the status. Right? Oh, silly me. I didn't mention my if-then video. There's that. Don't forget that if you don't know how to do an if-then. Sorry if some of you get annoyed by me mentioning the other videos, but a lot of people say, well, hey, what is that? Where do you cover that in? Well, I want to give everybody the chance to know where that stuff's covered. So if you don't like it, well, too bad. No, seriously. That's why I have my full courses. So I don't have to keep telling you, go watch this other video. Go watch that other video. My full course covers things in the right order. So I don't have to say, go watch that previous video back in over here. All right. But in these videos, I got to say, hey, well, if you don't know this already, go watch that. The benefit of the full course is I've already procured the stuff in the right order for you, and I teach it to you in a nice, easy to digest manner. So anyways, what this basically says is only display a status update every 100 records. All right, that's basically what that means. So now, it went by really fast that time, but see, it only displayed every 100th record instead of all of them. Okay. You can use the status box to display some startup information. For example, if you want to say, hey, what are my sales for the month? Right? Go look that up, and I want to see that every time I start the database up. Now, I've showed how to do stuff like that before. In fact, I've got a whole dashboard form video where I show you how to calculate a whole bunch of cool stats and display them on your main menu with a little chart and everything. But let's say you just want a quick little, what are my sales? Put it in the status box. Right? You could do a little event in here, right? Open this up, go to the events for the main menu. All right, you could use the OnLoad event or OnOpen event, either one. And you can come in here and say dim, let's say C as a currency, right? And then say C equals. Let's see what the fields we need are. We need the ordered table. We need to sum up the order total field And let's do the past 30 days. Past 30 days of order. So order date is greater than 30 days ago. So we got order date, order total, and I never remember these things. I'm going to slide that down there so I can see it while the code's open. I usually use my my notepad editor, right? So we're going to say, give me DSum, right? Sum up. What are we summing up? We're summing up order total from order T, where the order date is greater than or equal to today's date minus 30. Okay, and I like to put the date minus 30 actually in there, so I go that guy, because dates have to be inside of those guys, right? Those little hashtag symbols, like that. All right, so DSum up the order total from the order table where the order date is greater than or equal to date minus 30. And date minus 30 will actually go into that string between those two little guys there. Okay, and then once we have that value, then we'll just say status 30-day orders, like that, and then see, right? Save it, close it, close it, close it, and open it up. And now when we open up our thingy here, our database, we're given our 30-day order total. And there it is, 750. Let's see if that's right. Yep, that's correct. And you can format that as a currency and do all kinds of other stuff with it, whatever you want. What is this magical DSum function I just used, you ask? Well, guess what? I got a video on that too. DSum, DCount, DMax, DMin. Lots of different D functions to pull stuff out of tables. And you could even do something where, let's say your totals were particularly good or bad. You could recolor the status box, right? If you're putting some data in there. Let's say, let's go back to our code. And let's say if C is greater than, let's say if you did $5,000 in sales for the month, then we're going to say status box, that's the name of the text box, dot back color equals, what do you want? Green? VB green? Or you can use an RGB function and put whatever color you want in there, right? End if, and you can put other status options in there, like if it's less than 20, you can make it red, whatever you want. Save it. Right now, if I close this and open it back up again, all right, my sales are 750. Let's say we have a really good month, and this is now 50,000. All right, when the database starts up, oh, look at that. The 30-day sales totals, 50,000. Woohoo! Throw a party. Invite Rick. Because I like parties. So, okay. All right. But I do this, for example, when I'm importing, every morning I have to import my member list from YouTube, right, for the guys who signed up. And if I have a new member, I have my status box. It's normally gray. It switches to yellow. So I can say, oh, we got new members, which thankfully happens quite often. Thank you very much. And this way I can at least make sure that if I have that member's info, that I can make sure they get their email, so they get their login and all that stuff. Because YouTube doesn't give me anything except your name, your channel name, and your membership level. I don't have your email address. I don't have any of that stuff. So I can't contact you to set up your account. You've got to come to me. Anyways, not only can you change the background color, but if we switch this thing to rich text, we can change the foreground color too. Ooh. What is rich text? Well, I got a whole different video explaining it, but basically you can use a lot of different formatting options in your text boxes and in your reports and in your forms if you switch over to rich text. There are some drawbacks. It embeds HTML codes inside your text. So you don't want to use it for everything. But for something like a status box, you know, you can add some color to it. Let me show you. All right, let's come back into our code. And let's say here, instead of colorizing the whole background, all right, first let's put a $sign here. Pink. All right, and we'll say, sorry, I missed a step. We have to come and change our box here. That's the first thing. Change your box. All right, go to the data tab. Now, there's a format tab where it says format. That's not what you want. You want data, and you want text format. All right, I showed this in the rich text video. Change plain text to rich text. Okay, now save it, close it, open it back up again, hit hello world. And look what happens. It all gets kind of squished together. You don't see everything on its own separate line. Why is that? Well, because rich text will ignore VB new line. Instead, you have to replace that with the HTML line break character, which is going to be this. you know any HTML, if you've done any web design, that is line break. Okay? You can use a lot of different characters in the rich text. Not all of them. It's not a complete set of HTML. It's not like a web browser, but there's a big set of them. I cover more of them in detail in my rich text video. Go watch that for some details. I'll just give you some little tidbits down here. So for example, down here, let's say we always want to bold our dollar amount. So I'll put a bold symbol there, okay? And then we'll do a close bold after it. Okay, save it, and now open it up, and there you go. You can see that's in bold. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you can make it out better on the screen here. Oh, wrong thing. I always click on the wrong one. U, and then U, and then let's go 12 point. So it's nice and big. Nice and big and bold. And there we go. All right, 30-day orders. Boom. Now, if this is over a certain amount, let's make it red. All right, so let's go back to our code. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say in here, we're going to make status a string, right? So we're going to say in here dim s as a string. All right, I'm going to say right here s equals 30-day orders, and then we're going to bold it either way, and we're going to stop right there. Okay, and I'm going to say here if C is greater than, let's say, $10,000, then s equals s, and let's put a font color in here. So it's going to be font color equals red. Like I said, it's a simplified version of HTML. Okay. Then we'll continue. So s equals s and the $sign. Come here. Come on. Come here. Oh, I missed it. The $sign. All right. So we got the $sign, the C, and then the B. And actually, before the B, what we're going to do is we're going to say, no, we can leave it like that. We can actually cheat. We can put the close font here. You're not supposed to have a close tag without the front tag, but technically this will work. It shouldn't cause any problems. Ideally, you'd want to put the close font, you know, like this is for perfect code. You'd want to do this. You'd stop it here, right? And then you'd say same thing like that. You'd want to put the close font if you want to be a stickler there, but you can have a close font with it. Okay, S equals S and close your bold. Okay, all right, save it. And now, oh, we didn't get anything. Hold on, what did I forget? Oh, did you see it? Did you see my mistakes? Yeah, I leave stuff like this in the videos. That's what I do in my classes too. I goofed. Chances are you'll goof. You'll make the same goof. So I like to leave the goofs in the videos, right? Sometimes I get going too fast and I just don't catch what I'm doing. All right, but in this case, what am I doing here? I'm assigning all this stuff to a variable s. I never sent it to the status function, right? All right, status s. Duh. All right, do it again. Close it, open it. There you go. There's your red text inside your box. All right, let's change those sales. Those sales aren't stellar. All right, that's only a $50 sale. And for those of you who really pay attention, yeah, I cheated. I added order total here. Because normally the order total is the order total. What's an order total? You're telling on them? Normally the order total in my database is calculated from that, and then you add it all up. But I just cheated for class. Yeah, I added an order total field here. I know. And there you go. Now it's only 300. But you can use that status box to display a whole bunch of relevant information. You could say, you know, I like to use it on my customer forms, for example. And I'm not going to go through a full example right now. If you guys want to see more of this, let me know. Post me a message down in the comments down below, and I'll do more with status box if you want. But I have a little status box on the bottom of my customer form that sometimes you don't normally notice details of all these different fields unless they come together. Like what I'll do is I'll have it so that if a customer is like a gold member and they're in the learning connection, whatever, it'll put that in the status box on the bottom so I can very easily see in one spot, what all their memberships are. Let's say hypothetically you have a special discount for customers in Florida that have at least family size of 4. You might not remember that just looking at these disparate fields like that, but you could have a status box say, remember, this is a guy from Florida with a family size of 4. He gets a discount. That kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that the status box is also good for. So it's good for loops. It's good for showing things to the users when stuff's going on in the background or they're running a long process. It's good for putting messages in their face when they open a form up and says, hey, you know, this guy has an unpaid invoice, that kind of stuff. All right. So there you go. There's your fast tip for today. Lots of other videos for you to watch if you didn't know anything that I talked about in any of these other stuff, the things and stuff and pieces and parts and stuff. Yeah, it's been a long day. Well, there you go. I hope you learned something from today's video. Hope you had a good time doing it. And I'll see you again real soon. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free, and click on the bell icon to select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Make sure you click the Show More link down below the video to find additional resources and links. You'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted, so if you'd like to get an email every time I post a video, click on the link to join my mailing list. Even if you don't want to become a member, feel free to donate to my tip jar. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got puppies to feed. How do you become a member? Click on the Join button below the video. After you click the Join button, you'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks. Silver members and up will get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, one free beginner class each month, and more. Gold members get access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos, plus my code vault, where I keep tons of different functions that I use. You'll also get a higher priority if you decide to submit any tech help questions to me, and you'll get one free expert class each month after you finish the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks, plus even higher priority for tech help questions, access to all of my full beginner courses for every subject, and one free developer class each month after you finish the expert classes. These are the full-length courses found on my website, not just for access too. I also teach Word, Excel, Visual Basic, and lots more. You can now become a Diamond sponsor and have your name or company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown in each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. But don't worry, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access. It's over 4 hours long, and I just updated it for 2021. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below that you can click on. And also, if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. Yep, that's all, $1, and it's free for all members of my YouTube channel at any level, even supporters. Want to have your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my tech help page on my website. You can send me your question there. While you're on my site, feel free to stop by the Access Forum. Lots of good conversations happening there. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course, YouTube. Once again, my name is Richard Ross. Thank you for watching this tech help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something today. I'll see you again soon.